Hello and welcome. Excel comes with predefined filters that we can apply to our data. However, in some instances, we need to modify the filter options in order to get the type of records we want to analyze. In this video, we will look at some of Excel's custom auto filters. If you're interested in following along using the workbook or the data I will be using, please check the link in the video description below. The data we are using contains records of different product valuations by different companies at different times. Let's turn filtering on by using the key combination Ctrl+Shift+L. When we look at the filter drop-down of the expected valuation column, every option we see is a value already in the data. To be specific, these are unique values in the expected valuation field. What if we want to use a different value as a condition for our filter? What if we want all records with expected valuation less than 60,000? One way to do this is to scan through all the options and select the values less than 60,000. You perhaps agree that this is not efficient, and also it can be error-prone. We might include an unwanted value or exclude a value we want. The idea is, if what we want as a filter criteria is not already provided, or if the criteria is complicated to implement using the predefined filters, then we need to think of custom filters. On the Valuation Date column, click the Filter button. When we highlight Date filters, we see some options with ellipses or three dots: equals, before, between, and others. They require customization. We get a custom auto filter dialog box to specify our filter logic and value. There is also a custom filter option down here to get us to the custom auto filter dialog box we saw earlier. But why use it instead of any of the above ones with ellipses? The idea is, if what we want is already part of the options, then we select it. Otherwise, we choose custom filter. For instance, if we want all records after a certain date, then just select the after option. The dialog box is displayed with its after logic already initiated, and all we need is to specify the date value. Though we selected the after option, we can change our mind about the filter condition by selecting one of the options from this drop-down list. Now, let's look at a concrete example. Suppose our interest is to analyze records after October 2019. We can set the date value to October 31st, 2019 by typing it out: month, day, and year. Or we can use the date picker. Let's apply the filter. There we have it. 263 records meet the date condition we put on the data, and it makes sense that our records begin from November 2019. Go back to Date filters. This time, we choose Custom Filter. We can specify two conditions and join them with an AND conjunction or an OR disjunction. Assuming for some reason we need to exclude from our analysis all records between the periods October 2018 and March 2019. How do we achieve this? We can rethink the question and say we are interested in all valuations before October 2018 or those after March 2019. Our filtering request implies we should set this to all disjunction, since we are looking at records from two non-connecting periods. And when we look at the lower left corner for the count, there are 1076 records meeting our criteria. Sometimes we want to filter our data using a test field. When we look at the options for the company name, they are few, and we can easily distinguish one company from the other. So perhaps we don't need custom test filters to find records belonging to some company. However, I just want us to have a feel of how custom test filters work. So let's look at some examples. We want to filter for company name containing the string log, and just know that the value we type here is not case sensitive. We also want to exclude companies with LTD, short for limited, in their name. So select does not contain from the criteria list and type LTD as the value. Thus, we want all company names containing the string log but not containing the string LTD. We see the filtered data. Though both Delta Logistic and Epsilon Logistic Limited contain the string log, our filter rightly retained only Delta Logistics because it does not contain the string LTD. We will remove the current filter and look at another custom test filter. This time, select Contains. Notice that the dialog box appears with Contains condition already specified. What to keep in mind here is that we are working with string of characters, and so we can use wildcards, asterisk and question mark for better match pattern. You probably have already read the inscription down here that question mark represents single character and asterisk matches series of characters. We want to filter for all records with E as a second letter in the company name. How are we going to achieve this? Remember, the question mark is a wildcard for a single character we are not sure of. So, we will replace the first character with a question mark and specify E as the second character. We can put asterisks after the E to stand in for 0 or more characters that may come after the second character. However, we can also ignore it in this particular case. But if we do not use the question mark before the E, then we are asking for any company name that contains the letter E, and that will mean something entirely different from our requirement that the E must be in the second position. Notice what we get from the filter. Though Epsilon Logistic Limited has E in its name, it is rightly excluded because the letter E is not in the second position. The last data type to look at is numbers. With number filters, let's look at the top 10 actual valuations. The dialog box reads top 10 auto filter, but we can do button 10 or even increase the number to say top 15 or decrease it to what we want our filter to return. We can either do the top 10 by items or by percentage of the total number of records in our data. Let's do top 10 by items. These are the records with top 10 actual valuations, and you can see from the lower left corner 10 of 1,203 records found. We will try one more example. If we want all rows with actual valuation less than 20,000, we can select less than from the number filter options, and then specify the criteria value as 20,000. we see two product AM valuations done in 2018 by two different companies. I hope the information in this video adds to your knowledge in Excel custom filters. Thanks for watching.